Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang back at it with another video. So in this game I play a chess club member named Anthon2010. And so let's get to it. It was a very interesting game filled with some strategic maneuvering. So after e4, our friend Anthon plays e6. And this is the French defense, of course. I play the move queen e2. Basically saying that after knight c6, well, my main purpose here is after d5, I suggest e takes d5. And the move here for black is queen takes d5, and really it begs the question whether this queen really belonged in the center or not. So some people will play c5 here, some people will play knight c6 here. Our friend Anton went with the move knight c6. So after knight f3, bishop c5, just simply controlling the center here, I think it's very logical. So after c3, and now e5. So here's the thing. The only problem I have with this setup is how e4, e6 happened, but on the fourth move, black had to play e5 again. And to me, this same position could have also been reached if it was like this: knight f3, knight c6, queen e2, bishop c5, c3. Right? If you compare this to, let's say, here, right? Essentially, here, white gets an extra move. But if you look at this position, white doesn't get an extra move. It's black to move in this position. So even this small difference, pushing the pawn to e6 and pushing the pawn to e5, time is sometimes of the essence. And so in this game, white could easily play something like knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and d4. Very easy, center fork trick. Right, so that could have been done. But I said, let's go with the positional approach. And after knight f6, bishop g2, and I just basically let everything develop. So after h3, I just basically prevent the idea of bishop g4. And so by preventing the idea of bishop g4, I just simply allow this bishop not to have activity to take this knight. Because number one, I believe that this knight is going to be very critical in pushing d4 later on. So that's my goal. Right now I'm probably going to play d3, knight b2, knight b3, and something like d4. That's a possible plan. Or I castle, h6, I play a4. Now a4 is a very tricky move. Number one, ideally I should play b4 here, and I knew that in the game. But part of me here was playing for tricks. I was playing for tricks because, first of all, this indirectly threatens something. And the move b4 is a direct threat on the bishop. So I wanted to make my move a4 look less obvious. I didn't want our friend Anton to know my true intention, which was b4 and a5. So that was my true intention. So if I was against like a 2400 or a really high rated person, I would have played b4 here, because I simply in this game I played a4 to, number one, sort of see if my opponent could detect that I was going to play b4 next move. And second of all, I was trying to play for tricks, which obviously I shouldn't have done. So if a real part of me were to play, I would play bishop b6, a4. After something like a6, I would play something like d3, knight d2, knight c4, bishop a3. You can see me drawing all these arrows because that's where I want to place my pieces. So instead, a5 happened. Anthon spotted my threat. I played knight a3 regardless. Bishop e6, very good. And now I played knight b5, just simply asking, can I play d4? And after queen d7, our friend Anthon said, go ahead. And at this moment, the question is, there's d5, threatening the two pieces. But after e takes, now our friend went bishop takes d4. But go back to b6, and after d5, bishop takes h3, dc6, b takes e6, knight c3. This position I feel like would be a little bit better than what was achieved in the game. So after bishop takes d4 here, knight takes, bishop takes h3. Now I sort of insert this move, knight f5. And this move is very tricky because number one, after bishop takes f5, e takes f5, I attack the c7 pawn. And the c7 pawn to me is very critical in terms of number one, just defending d6, and number two, just being a very important part of black's pawn structure. So queen takes f5 happens, and I'm like, ooh, I like this. Rook c8, knight b5, and now I'm threatening this guy. Rook cd8, I felt that was the only move. After bishop f4, I kind of felt that d5 was begging to be played because obviously the pawn was not going to do well on d6. But instead, knight e8 happened. And to me, this is a very, what do you call it, a passive move. Someone that just continues to defend, but it's not pushing forward. Now, I understand that you might have thought d5, maybe bishop d6, but now there's rook fe8, and all of a sudden, this bishop is feeling like a little bit of a fool, just standing there, not threatening much. And so, based on that, knight e8, it just felt a little bit passive, and these two pieces felt like they were doing the job. Not only does this knight just defend here, it sort of restricts this rook from coming out. And that's a bad thing, because obviously, in order to win the game, you need to get all your pieces out. You need to get them all involved in the attack, and that's how you win a game. So, end it there. Thank you.